1, 2, 3, 4, 손을 보여야지. 바꿔야지, 손을. 돌려. 그렇지. 네, 오빠이 됐어요.
Hello, welcome to Season 1, Episode 10 of Denise and Galen Go to Korea. And today we're going to talk about two experiences we sort of have in common that have been a really positive part of what we'd hoped to experience here and have come to fruition thanks to aerobics, sort of, and tennis.
I know most of you know that I was concerned about having a way to exercise while I was here, and fortunately, we live across the street from a park where they are regularly having exercise classes for seniors, and they are free and they are fun.
And Denise has perused the catalog we get once a month, sort of like the Menlo Park activities catalog, except it's all in Korean. And she, I guess, spends, I don't know, an hour or so more maybe with her phone translating the various classes that she's eligible to take.
And figuring out what and where they are. One of the classes that I took that's done for the winter because they don't do this outside all winter for some reason is what I call the stick class, because that is what the translation said, class with sticks. And it was basically two metal rods that you held to use for balance, and there was something that I learned called a sumo squat, which is basically a wider stance squat, and since we're Asians we go way down, and a lot of other balance activities, and that was a daytime class which I really liked a lot.
And this stuff is very like senior oriented. I think the classes that Denise sees listed there, 3/4 of them are for old people like us.
Definitely.
Denise, anyway.
Definitely.
To go and kind of stay healthy and all the activities like that. So I'm going to tell the story of tennis first in a little more detail, and Denise is going to give a little bit more about her starring role in the aerobics class. So I came here, and my tennis buddies in Menlo Park will know that I was concerned about that could I do this. And if you look on the internet, it says it's really hard to play tennis in Korea because there aren't a ton of courts and whatever. Anyway, I couldn't find anything obvious except there was a court on a corner of a parking lot about 3 blocks from here. It looked like it was connected to a apartment complex, and we walked to a bus there a few times, and I looked longingly at this tennis court and thought, God, there's got to be a way to figure out who I could play with here. So Denise and I think
Lisa,
that's right, we're walking to the bus, and there were some guys playing on the court. And so we poked our head in, and one of the men who was there came over and had enough English to communicate, well, sure, yeah, you can come and play with us. Why don't you come, and on the weekend we start around 9 and you can come and play. So that was very inviting, and there were like 4 or 6 guys there, and he seemed to be the person sort of in charge, I guess. And so the next weekend I put on my tennis garb and walked down there. It was still pretty nice weather at this time. And there's a bunch of guys playing doubles on a clay court that they take care of themselves. Draw the lines. They've got their own personal steamroller that they use to keep the court nice and level. And I've always wanted to play on a clay court, having played on hard court my whole life. Tennis people know what this is about. So that was exciting. And over the course of several weeks, basically, I became one of the guys. There are several of the men who will try to speak English with me. It's mostly the older guys. The younger guys you would think might speak English. And younger, I mean 40-something. They don't even really try. And Mr. Chong, the main guy, does try and speak English pretty well. At least it makes it feasible. And so I've been playing doubles with them and getting to know the situation. And this past weekend, they insisted that I come on Saturday. Normally I come on Sunday. That I come on Saturday because something special was going to happen. And I think this was like their annual party for the club. That's what they call it. What Mr. Chong calls it, the end of the year club. Like sort of like my Menlo Park guys have had periodically in the summertime. And they had a little ritual to officially join me into the club, where Mr. Chong made a little speech. Everybody stood there and bowed, and I bowed, and then I had to make a little speech, which Mr. Chang translated for me about how glad I was to be in their club. And then we played like a round-robin tournament all day, where I was paired up with 3 different guys, and I lost 2-6, 2-6, but did win 6-0 with the other left-handed guy. And just a lot of fun, obviously, playing tennis. And then there was a whole meal. So there's pictures here of the clubhouse, which is a shipping container turned into a clubhouse. and you can see the makgeolli and the beer and the stuff that they have as snacks. But then there was a whole meal of raw fish and hot sauce and the usual Korean setup for that. Plus, they made giant pots of fish stew from the leftovers, which we sat around at 8. And so I got there at 9, and about 3 I texted Denise and said, I'm going to be late because I thought, I'd be home by noon or whatever. But it was great hanging out with them. Really, aside from obviously working, this has been the experience where I felt invited into and made a part of their culture, this little mini community's culture of guys who play tennis on the weekend, which, it's a lot like what we've done over the years with the Menlo Park group too, is invite random people who show up or people we know. But it felt really special to be included this way and to see the ritual and participate in their annual meal. And everybody got gifts of like a lifetime supply of overgrips and 2 tubes of hand lotion, which is very necessary in the cold winters. And it's been great. I'm blessed, just being able to play tennis, get some exercise, and now have this group of guys who we sort of communicate with, but definitely have a connection with. And so that's my tennis story. And Denise has a similar but different aerobics experience.
So the aerobics class is also right across the street in the park. So, I leave my apartment at 5 till, and I'm there in time for class.
2, 3, 4 돌려주고 계는데 1, 2, 3, 4 계속 보여야지 손을 돌려 그렇지 오빠리
And luckily, because it's cold and dark here, they moved it from 7 o'clock at night to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which suits me much better. So again, when you show up, there's a lot of smiling and a lot of bowing because they're very excited to see me. Plus, there's a certain amount of bowing that we do anyway.
I forgot to say that before you serve the first round as server in doubles, you bow to the opponent.
Yeah, so when we get there, we have a little militaristic warm-up that we do, and as soon as we finish the warm-up, then everybody bows to everybody, and then the actual class starts. There's a lot of curiosity about me. Nobody speaks English except the instructor does a little bit, but people trying to ask me, why I'm there and where do I live and where am I from, just by, a lot of moaning and grunting and stuff. And then there's a competition to be my partner because I guess I'm just the strangest thing that they've ever got to partner with. So whoever gets me, if we have a little pair-off thing, is very excited, although usually also equally frustrated because, of course, I can't understand anything that's being said. So if we're facing each other, then I'm not facing the instructor, and I don't know what's going on.
And the whole thing, I think, in both cases, feels like a community wanting to welcome the stranger.
Absolutely.
And, I think all cultures have that as a thing, but it doesn't always work, and there's also wariness of the stranger. But we're in this very fortunate situation, and these are 2 good examples where the people that we've met in this kind of situation want to be generous welcomers of the stranger and treat us like that. And so it's slowly brought us into the community. I think if we do this for the next several months, we'll just be those 2 Denise and Galen, random American people who participate in this whole thing.
And part of this is because of where we do live in Seoul. There aren't any other foreigners, so we're not down in the...
we're not a bunch of annoying foreigners.
Yeah, we're not annoying tourists. We're kind of like little mini celebrities because, there they are. And we show up and people are very happy to see us. At least these 2 groups of people go way out of their way to make us feel welcome.
Yeah, and so, it's been a double bonus, I think, for us to have these particular experiences here. First, because I really wanted to play tennis. I know Denise wanted to figure out a way to get exercise consistent. Yeah. So we've met that goal, plus the details of playing on the clay court or whatever has been great. And then to have this experience of a community that has really gone out of its way to be welcoming and give us an experience that we couldn't possibly have otherwise has been great.
I've been invited to the year-end parties as well, but I couldn't make the first one, and we'll actually be traveling by the time the second one takes place. But I'm in the group chat now, and I figured out how to make it translate for me every time they send me a little message, then I can see that they're saying, raining tonight, don't come, or don't forget to sign up for the party, or something of that effect.
So that's been great. No teacher rambling this time. I'm glad you guys were willing to check out our experiences through 10 episodes of Denise and Galen Go to Korea. See ya.
See ya.